The next update coming inside of the Forge is going to change everything forever. The Forge has been out for a couple months now. We have actually already gotten all the way to the Frostfire Expanse, and we're actually getting a whole brand new world coming out very, very soon. In this video, we're going to be going over some features that are definitely going to be coming inside of this world, guaranteed, confirmed by the developers, as well as some things that are very likely to be coming within the next few weeks. I'll also be going over some desperately much needed features because, as you know, the game is dying. At the time I'm recording, it has 52,000 players, which is not bad, but this is definitely far lower than what it was before. To start off, obviously, we're getting an all brand new island called the Crimson something something. You probably already know this, but it's going to be called the Crimson Sakura Isles. It basically has a lot of brand new things. You know, they added the recycle system, which was supposed to come out with World 4, but they did add it early. Same with an RNG lock system that did also come out. Blueprints that dropped from enemies. This has yet to actually come out. And a bunch of other stuff such as upgradable ore and weapon stationary storage. Now, one of the amazing features that's coming with this is a weapon stationary storage. And what this actually is for all of your items and to be kept in one place. That way you actually have way more storage, more than the max you can hold, which is the 1,000. So for example, let's say you got extra gargantuan that is taking up your inventory space, but you currently don't need it. You will basically be able to go up to a bank and deposit it, and it will stay there until you want to actually use it. And if you're wondering how it's gonna look, because they have it in their other game that's coming out, it's simply like this Billy storage guy. You can basically go here and you have the choice to actually also upgrade your storage, which will basically give you more slots. But if I say show me your storage, as you can see, I basically have the ability to deposit or withdraw my items. So if I want to deposit fish in here, or well, in the Forge it would be ores, I can actually go ahead and do that. It does say it's currently disabled, so just ignore this. And I did recently make a full review on this brand new game if you haven't checked it out yet. But a lot of the features that people have been asking for actually are derived from that other game called Abyss. And the reason for that is because the developers have been taking much more meaningful time adding in the features into that game, and a lot of players want it in this one. To be honest, I did like that other game, but in my opinion, the Forge still has a much bigger place in my heart because it has way more things to do, and it's one of the most unique games on Roblox. Not the most, but one of the most. One of the things we need to see in this game is actually where the reroll system is. If you don't know, rerolls are probably the only super big pay-to-win feature in the game, because you have this Archangel race, which is far better than anything else, and it's a 1 in 1,000 chance of you actually obtaining. This is ridiculously rare, and luckily I did manage to get it very easily. But since the developers don't have any way for you to obtain rerolls in the game, except I believe there's like one way now. I mean, I guess you do have this mailbox, which, by the way, really good quality of life feature. It shows you basically all the updates the game has had. Great job on this, developers. And there is a little section we're going to talk about in here that they secretly added. But the only way I can think of to get rerolls other than Santa, which is gone, is through this daily reward thing where you're able to get a reroll on day 5 and 3 rerolls on day 7. Personally, I don't really like that. And I know a lot of you guys want to get some of the better races, or you just want to have a bunch of races in order to be able to use them. And for that, I have a very good idea of adding a lucky reroll race as well as a normal reroll race. Or I should say just lucky and normal rerolls. Normal rerolls are ones that are actually already inside the game. 3 rerolls, all of this stuff. And you can maybe actually obtain them through boss fights or something. However, if you really want to get it, these things over here would be replaced by lucky rerolls, which would obviously cost a bit of Robux, and that's lets pay to win players, you know, have a higher chance of getting this stuff. But at the same time, new players and people who don't want to spend Robux have the opportunity to get rerolls over time. The reason why this is good is, one, it's inside of Abyss, so it's clearly an interest point for the developers in the other game, and 2, it actually gives people a greater reason to want to grind after they have finished everything inside of the game. Because fighting bosses right now, yes, you can get runes, but oftentimes it's super disappointing. Like, sure, I can go ahead and equip, you know, my weapon inside my inventory that literally insta-freezes the boss. It doesn't let him attack me or anything, and I can go ahead and fight him. Look, to do this, all I do is just stand still and I swing, bro. That is literally it. But as you can see, there's a very good chance, obviously, I don't get anything I actually need. And I doubt anybody cares about legendary and epic essences. We already have enough of those. So it's going to give players a reason to really want to grind and fully max out the races, and it also actually lets the developers add more races without people complaining, because when they added the Archangel race is basically when the game fell off. It was when World 2 came out, and because World 2 was super terribly unbalanced and they just added a Robux item, a lot of players didn't really like that. But now on to my next suggestion, and this one is actually a really highly big or recommended one, and it's actually already confirmed to be coming in the game. If we currently go to the mailbox, which by the way, you can find it all the way in the corner, it looks the same as like the calendar, but it's a mailbox. And if we actually go to this quality of life changes update that we had, it was the second newest update that we've recently got. But one of the things that the developers have not told us was this little description, and particularly this part where they said future plans include dungeons, raids, PvP, guilds, and guild wars. The one thing we have multiple of inside of this is guild wars and guilds. This is something the developers have actually been confirming for a very long time. They did say it takes a while for it to actually come because they want to do it right better than other games. And if I'm gonna be honest, I have seen multiple games do that, and a lot of them have done a terrible job at it, so I do respect them for taking their time, but I've managed to find one of the best propositions for how this should be done. Shout out to Jay over here with his brand new guild system that this guy came up with. It's a pretty long list, but the first thing in this list is actually the guild basics. Obviously, to create this, it says it costs 10 million gold. Obviously, the developers can change that, but the reason why this guy says 10 million is actually a very good reason, and you're gonna see why, because this thing seems very worth it. With 10 million to create this, you're able to get multiple things, such as earn guild XP through collective mining and forging activities, while being able to give people different ranks, such as guild master, official or officer, member, and a recruit, aka someone you're trying to get in but they're not in yet. And then it comes with a guild island. I really like this because it says it's a private instance accessible through the wizard's portal, and it says it's home to all essential NPCs with visual progression as the islands level up. So basically, as your guild progresses and as we get more islands inside of the game, your little area where I guess your kind of guild community is looks different, and it changes over time. This is really cool because it allows you to access all the NPCs in one place. You can access everything in the game, and overall it's kind of like a plaza. Then we got some important things: guild upgrades, where every upgrade requires a pool of specific ores plus gold, and this can be done by all members contributing to the shared pool. Contributions are tracked via a transparent log. This allows people to, in your guild to be ranked up if you want to rank them, because, they've been doing a great job, and it also lets you get a bunch of buffs. I believe these are the categories for the buffs right on over here, and as you can see, there's a bunch of them, such as forging ability for Sensei Moro, increase item quality, and weapon multiplier. This one I really like. It's an endgame scaling, so it's obviously going to be very good for endgame players. Then you got like a mining beacon, faster mining speed that you can get. Trading post, which I don't actually understand what this is, but basically being able to sell your stuff for more gold, up to 30% more. Then some of the best things, such as a ruin workshop, ruin maker, war hall, which literally is like for PvP if they do still want to add that. Like I said, they did have it as a thing that they want to do, and the ability to upgrade your weapon and armor damage. So very good things that come out of this. Now, obviously, this should definitely not recommend, or this should definitely not, alter the outsides of the game, especially if you're not in a guild. I don't think anything should be based off of guilds, and guilds should just be a little bit of a buff as a community that you can do with other people in order to get some perks. But yeah, that little guild suggestion did mention that, so I thought it was very important because the developers like making the game a lot harder, assuming you have everything. The next suggestion I actually have, which might be one that's not super needed because of a brand new feature such as the storage unit coming out where you can store your stuff, but for us to be able to upgrade our stash capacity even further would be very nice, because in this game there's a massive problem with these ruins. Bro, I hate ruins, but they take up so much space, bro. Look at how much ruins I have. If I were to go ahead and sell my ruins, I would probably be able to decrease like 100 out of my storage. And one way the developers could do this is by obviously increasing the level cap. It's actually been at 200 ever since very early in the game, and some people have over 200 because they did it before they put a cap on it. So I hope with the brand new world coming out, they are able to increase it somewhere to like 500, bro, to be honest. I know it sounds crazy, but if they make it actually pretty hard to get to level 500, it will take players some time, because getting to level 200 in World 3 is actually super easy. I don't know if the game shows how much XP you get. Yeah, I am max level, so it doesn't tell me how much XP I get. But, bro, you can get a ton of XP from just fighting these random NPCs here, and it's so easy to max out. And look at that, bro. We're just getting a ton of rage mark and stuff. Like, bro, I don't want it anymore. That also leads me to my next personal suggestion that I've been asking the developers to add for a super long time. And this is a very big quality of life. But for us to be able to go to our index and actually just click the icon of the type of ores or even like ruins, if they can add them inside the index, and then being able to auto delete them would be very nice. So for example, let's say you as a player are constantly mining the small ice crystals, and well, you don't want some things you can get out of this, such as the Velshire. Instead of being forced to either forge it into armor or delete it yourself, you can simply just go inside the ore section and find the Velshire, click this icon right here like once or twice, and then it will set it to auto sell. That way it takes a lot less time for you to worry about it, and your inventory doesn't really get full. Plus, when you're AFK grinding in spots like here, it would actually allow you to AFK grind without your inventory really getting good or full, unless you get some of the really good stuff. Currently, that's the problem with this. You know, I get a bunch of frost fossils, and don't get me wrong, I love being able to sell them. I think that's good, especially when I forge it into armor. But sometimes, bro, you just get tired of that. And if I'm gonna go to sleep, I definitely don't want my inventory getting full. And they can do the same exact thing for ruins. The next suggestion is something that I thought the developers were gonna do, but they have yet to actually do it. So I'm gonna bring it up because I think a lot of you guys want this. Right now, if I go ahead and try to put any type of ruin on my dragon head pickaxe, it is a ridiculous price. Like, if I just try to put a miner shard ruin, yeah, as you can see, 400k. I forgot what percentage of your pickaxe's price it takes, but it takes that, and then it requires that for every single ruin you want to put on it. This is very expensive, and it's a little bit unbalanced, which I think is definitely unfair. A lot of players have been asking for this, and the devs did, I believe, say they were going to eventually make changes and make it cheaper, but that really needs to be cheaper. And like I said, a lot of things are going to be coming in this update, such as blueprints. I did recommend the developers to add blueprints before, you know, they added this RNG lock system, because I think a lot of people would prefer blueprints over RNG locking. Blueprints literally guarantee you a specific item rather than an entire category. But obviously, you know, some things just can't be made in time, and that's okay. Another thing people want is additional race slots. I definitely agree. Multiple races are needed in this game to progress. 3 is honestly a decent amount, but if they do increase the level cap, 1 more would be very nice, because right now things like Dwarf, Archangel, and Goblin are very much needed, but you could also want some additional ones out of this list. So, you know, even 1 more slot would be really nice to have. And what I really like is to make daily reset fixed at a certain time, like the Santa quest. Now, I will say the Santa quest was not fixed at a certain time, but basically they're saying not reset from the time you actually finish the quest, and some quests took 2 hours, such as mining 5 floating crystals. That is hard to do on a public server. And I agree, especially if you're a beginner, it was a little bit harder to finish these Santa quests, but for them being done at a specific time, for example, it resets at 11 a.m. every single day, that's perfect. it gives you a full 24 hours to do it, and you don't really get punished for doing it a little bit later than usual. Oh, and a super important one right after it says, King Quell right here says, for the love of God, just make the tier 2 mining runes always have 2 trades. Yes, bro, please, because for some reason, the developers thought it's a great idea to, you know, have a miner shard tier 1 where it only has 1 trade, cool, and then make people go for miner shard tier 2s that could literally also only have 1 trade, such as this one. It's literally worse than some of my miner shard tier 1s. Same with this one over here. Why would I want 5% luck for a miner shard tier 2 that I had to fight multiple bosses to get? Come on now. That's just not a good quality of life feature, and it gives people every single reason to want to leave the game. But let me know what you guys think of these suggestions. Obviously, we have a bunch of areas coming inside the game in this brand new update, including all of these brand new ores, so it's definitely going to be a very big one. However, I really hope the developers don't overwork themselves like they did with World 3, and then, you know, it turns out to be kind of a disappointment at the start. If you enjoyed this video, though, hurry up and watch this one on the screen right here. I went ahead and picked it for you myself, and I really think you're going to like it, but pick it fast because this video is about to end. And until then, bye!